けの頼りない翼でもきっと飛べるさ
Hello everyone, and welcome to special episode 33 of LostinTranslationmon. I'm May, and this time I'm going to be talking about the latest Tri Chapter 6 PV that came out a couple of days ago now. I've been meaning to upload just a quick short episode to sort of serve as almost like this week's episode, since I'm not sure if I have time to do another better, longer episode about something else. Hopefully in the future I'll have better episodes to sort of pad out the in-between episodes, in between the main show. We should be starting Cross Wars next week at least, which is good, and I'll be trying to continue doing a semi-regular stream of Hacker's Memory. So this time, as I said, I'll just be talking about the latest PV. So if you haven't seen that yet, I highly recommend you watch that, because I'll be talking about it in full detail. I don't want to spoil anything. There is some pretty big reveals, which I don't think Toei is actually trying to hide at all, with how many screenshots of the certain thing they're posting up everywhere. So if you want to find out, it may be best just to watch the PV and not wait till the movie, because it'll be spoiled to you, and you may as well have it spoiled to you by watching the PV instead of just seeing a screenshot. Because I saw a screenshot and it was very exciting, but it would have been nicer just to see it actually happen. Because, can't really compare watching something, just seeing something or being told something. So anyway, I'll just move on to the discussion. It's just a very short discussion, just a few things that I want to talk about. So first of all, Digimon shows up, so that is the first of the exciting, interesting things that we don't really know why he's there. We don't know if he's really Digimon. He could just be there like the Dark Masters, who I still don't believe are the actual Dark Masters. And he could just be there like Impale Dramon, who I don't actually believe is Impale Dramon, but some sort of fake Digimon, and I think it may be the case here. It's interesting that they're putting in what I would assume to be a Hikari-focused movie, and Devimon has more of a sort of importance to TK, and to not have him come up in a TK-related movie, that's just strange, because Kari wasn't actually there for Devimon. But, I have faith. I mean, I'm just assuming that this is going to be a Kari-focused one, because Chapter 5 wasn't a Kari-focused one, and I think that Kari sort of deserves her time in the limelight at this point. So we see the Kaiser, and it's probably just Dark Geni again, and I noticed that there were no signs of the 02 kids, and that's probably because the only bit of the 02 kids we might get is them being rescued, because we do know that they aren't there. They have been kidnapped, or they're missing, or something is wrong with them. So we might not even see them at all. We might just be told, oh yes, and the 02 kids returned and they're safe now. Like, they might even show up at all, and that's fine. I'm fine with that. Like, I love 02, but this isn't their story. This is the Adventure Kids story, and that's the point of Tri. And it was never advertised as something that had the 02 kids. But I'm fine if they show up. Even if they're the biggest part of the movie and they show up and they save everyone, that's fine too. I don't mind. And then we see Tailmon looking like she's dying and fading out of existence. Now, we saw this in the last PV, which I don't think we actually covered that much. That came out, I believe, I want to say in December. It was a couple of months ago now. But I don't think it had as much to talk about as this PV. Then we see Daigo, who's covered in blood. He's not looking too great at all. And then we see the other thing, the most important thing I would say from this PV, is that we see Tailmon evolving to Holy Dramon. So this sort of shows that Fall Down Mode was sort of like a dark evolution and a not quite right evolution, like a corrupted evolution. Even though we only saw a Fanimon for a couple of minutes, it's still maybe not a real pure evolution. And I also thought that was interesting to note that there's no sign of Wizardmon, because we do see him in the poster. So it's likely still meant to be a subtle thing, or maybe he doesn't even come back. Maybe it's just like the hat is just there sort of like as a sign of Hikari and Tailmon's relationship and friendship, and what their character growth that they had, and their character background story and everything behind that with Wizardmon. And so he may not even show up. I hope that he shows up. I hope that maybe his final bits of his power comes back to bring Tailmon back from almost dying. And it's really interesting. Like, it's because we don't know why Wizardmon's hat is on the poster. It could be as insignificant as Bakumon on the Chapter 4 poster, but it could be a major thing. It could be like this huge thing that they're trying to keep under wraps. It could be like this huge twist that's going to blow everyone's mind. But we still don't know. We also see Yamato, who is holding on to the goggles around his neck. and it's like the way he's holding on to is full of quite a lot of emotion, so it's sort of, I guess he's trying to show that he is the leader now because he feels like Taichi's dead. And speaking of Taichi, there's still no sign of him, but we know he's okay because he's on the poster, which kind of removes any tension, and at the end of the PV they actually show the poster and Taichi's alive and well on the poster. But it's kind of good that they don't show him coming back, because it still sort of asks, like, still ask questions. We don't see how he comes back, we don't see that he is coming back, so we don't know whenabouts he will come back. So it still leaves some questions open, which is fine. I prefer if he wasn't on the poster though, because that does, leave some sort of a bit of tension there. However, of course we don't know Daigo's fate, because he's not on the poster, and he's obviously not in the epilogue. They're still going for the epilogue, so we don't know about Daigo's fate. And I was just thinking just then, like, I know I've said this a few times and I can't remember where I read it, but Tri was about some sort of like possible altered timeline. So what if they do like basically a reboot after Tri, and they sort of, it gets sent back to before the events of Tri or something, and then everything else continues as normal, and the infection is dead, and no bad things happen, and that's why Mako's not there, that's why Maki's not there, that's why Taichi's alive. It could be something. So that's basically just my quick thoughts. As I said, sorry it's not like a full long episode with any guests or anything. I just felt like it had some points to be discussed. It was quite a good PV. I'm excited for the next part, and I just thought it would be good to still have weekly podcast episodes, even if they're just short ones. So hopefully this was okay. I'm going to stream Hacker's Memory now. I'm going to be trying to be doing that semi-regularly, I guess. I don't want to put like a schedule on it just in case I'm busy, or like we only have one TV at the apartment, and even though it's my TV, I'll still let my flatmate use it, so he might be wanting to watch something. So so hopefully I can get something going there. I've streamed for a couple of hours on the weekend, and I think that went down pretty well. So please tune into that, or I guess watch the replay of it on YouTube, because it does save it after the stream, so that's fine. You can still catch up later on. So that's it for the episode. So our Redbubble's linked in the description. You can get more than just shirts there too. I believe there's a 20% off sale site-wide at the moment, but I'm not sure if that's still going, or if by the time you listen to this, it might not be going. You can contact us and stay updated. You can email us at LostinTranslationmon@gmail.com, or you can comment on this episode or message us on SoundCloud. You can follow us on LostinTranslationmon on Twitter, and you can find us on LostinTranslationmon on Tumblr, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We have a discussion thread on With the Will and a Reddit thread in the Digimon subreddit, and we would appreciate if you review us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and any other podcast listening app that you use. Ratings really assist people finding out about the podcast. We also have a website. You can vote in polls, check out our release schedule, which I've updated until about late June, I believe, or the end of June, and you can check out our blog posts and any updates that we make. We'll let you know via the blog if we're streaming, or if an episode's going to be late, or if we're doing anything special. It's a good way to keep in touch. And you can also message us and comment on our post there too. You can also donate to our Patreon, which is linked in the description, from as little as $1 a month. And that gets you access to a list of Slack chat group, but there are higher levels and more rewards, such as notes, early episodes, and more. And thank you to our Patreon supporters, Sam Krieger, who hosts a podcast with Stevie called the Moncast. Stevie is also Stevie Patamon on Tumblr and takes commissions. Wu Qinglong, who is at Twitch at Wu Qinglong, Metal Mamimon, Joe, Anime Guy, who is Anime Guy Kurosaki, then the #1 on YouTube, Chakmon, Hiro Lato, who's Hiro Lato on Twitter, Jason Morosky, Ryuchi, who's Frost Moragic on Archive Our Own and Inkit.com/RydenAllen, Stephen Reeves, who is at Wildwing64 on Twitter, Kaidawashi, Mac, Noam, Riku, Chisai, who you can follow at Chisai236 on Tumblr, Kyle, Delady Bugman, who you can read their anime blog on bugubaragu.wordpress.com, Glitchgoat, Azrael McCool, Gene Hackmon, who hosts New World Sonata, a sci-fi fantasy audio drama podcast, Matthew, Anthony, who is at AntoClassic on Twitter, Lizmet, who is Alekmon on Tumblr, Sithobi, Ali Vorg, who is Ali Vorg on Tumblr, Sporky McFalkenspoon, who hosts a Digimon podcast called Going Digital, Megan, Kyliak, Neobu, the Time Optimist Silverhead Freak 25, who is at SHF25 tweets on Twitter, Harvey, Alex, Nicholas, Thunder, and Anthony. You can also make one donation at our PayPal, which we found in the description. It's paypal.me/Edgemon. Make sure to let us know the podcast. We'll see you guys next time. Bye!